Hi, welcome to Barnes Bullets. I'm Mike Painter, Senior Product Manager. Welcome to our series as well. This series was put together with the intention of helping to inform and educate new and experienced shooters. There's so much technology, there's so many new innovations in the shooting industry. It's hard to keep up, and it's hard to know what application or what ammunition is right for you. Over the course of this series, we're going to discuss some of the more basic concepts behind ammunition and ammunition products. We're going to talk about the components that make up a cartridge, the bullet, the primer, the propellant. We're also going to talk about factory ammunition. Hand loading components. Is hand loading right for you? Why should I hand load? We're also going to go out to the range, have a range day, talk about range safety, talk about the different various bullet types. What is the correct bullet for your application? We really hope that this series is educational and informative to you and a benefit to helping you make the correct decisions for your application.
When it comes to cartridge selection, it first helps to understand what makes up a cartridge. So we're going to talk about the four major components. We have the bullet or the projectile, the shell, which is the cartridge case, the propellant or the powder, and the primer, which is the ignition source. One of the most important pieces of the cartridge is the bullet. So we're talking about the bullet itself. This is the part that's going to travel down the bore. It's what's traveling through the air to reach the intended target. So obviously you have to look at what is your application. Are you hunting? Are you target shooting? That's what's going to help you decide what bullet to use. Outside the bullet we have the shell. This is the brass casing. This is what houses the primer and the propellant and the bullet. So what's going to fit into your chamber on your gun and help drive the whole thing. Inside the shell we have the propellant or the powder. Now, this is the energetic material. This is what's going to burn. It's what's going to create that energy to push the bullet forward through the bore and through the air. And we have the primer. The primer is the ignition source. It fits in the bottom of the shell casing. The primer is ignited. It ignites the powder burns, builds up gas and pressure, and pushes the bullet out. Modern centerfire cartridges utilize smokeless powder. It helps to understand that there are different types of powder, different burn rates, different energies, different chemical compositions that help achieve different results in different cartridges. There's an extruded powder, which is a stick powder. There's ball powders, which are fine, almost like a sugar. There's flake powders. There's different spherical powders. They've all been designed to react differently, to give different burn rates, different energy. Some powders are designed to be temperature stable. They have different chemicals and different coatings that go onto them to help shooters achieve results that are consistent throughout different temperature extremes.
Everyone knows when you pull the trigger on a rifle, an explosion happens and a bullet comes out the bore. But what's really going on inside? When you pull the trigger, the firing pin comes forward and strikes the face of the primer. When that happens, it compresses the primer mix and creates an explosion. Now that explosion ignites the powder inside the brass case, creating gases which rapidly expand. As the gases expand, it builds pressure behind the bullet. When there's enough pressure behind the bullet, it's going to come out of the case mouth and into the rifling of the barrel. When it enters the barrel, it continues to build pressure and gets engraved while it rotates down the barrel. And more pressure will be built, and finally it'll come out of the barrel, traveling a couple 100,000 RPM, which stabilizes the bullet. When a bullet leaves the muzzle, it's traveling at a very high rate of speed, which is called your muzzle velocity. Now, this muzzle velocity you can find on the box of ammo, or you can actually measure yourself, and it's a very important component of your ballistic calculator to build your trajectory.
Thanks for watching this segment. Today we learned about what makes up a cartridge, the different pieces and components. We also learned about the interior ballistics. If you have any questions about any of the things we talked about today, or just questions in general regarding firearms or ammunition, feel free to contact our customer service.